Hi friends, it's me, Allie, your friendly neighborhood Chanel expert. So today we are dipping into the Le Blanc collection that just came out very recently here in Canada. And we will be dipping into this beautiful palette yet again. Whenever I get a new release, a new collection, I like to use and reuse my makeup. And I like to mix it and match it. I have some old favorites, some new goodies here that I want to play with you guys today. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. So my inspiration today for the palette is something very light and ethereal. I have swatched the palette yet again, and I think I'm going to lean in quite heavily into the yellowish, slight greeny, pearlescent color, the lightest color. I think I'm going to create something very light on the eyes, and I'm going to go into a bold lip. I have this liquid lipstick here from Violette FR. This is the shade Cœur Infidèle. This came out, I think, in the fall or winter. No, I think the fall or summer, basically in 2022. And it's a beautiful dark berry, raspberry. I just think like a nice bold lip with a light ethereal eye. It's going to be quite nice. My lips are feeling a bit dry from living in Montreal in winter, so I'm going into my Emile Cordon Café 212. Smells delicious. It smells like a coffee pastry or a bakery that serves coffee and delicious chocolate eclairs. It smells delicious. Someone was asking about these Emile Cordon lip balms. They all have a pretty distinct scent. Some are different, some are more fruity, and some are a bit softer, but some of them are very gourmand, very decadent. Dipping into this shadow here, this is the only matte color in the palette. And if you're new here, if this is your first video, we've created, I think this is the third look so far. And the palette is very pastel. I mean, it's called like Délices Pastel, so pastel delights, something like that. And it's very sheer. You know, it's not going to be a super opaque, intense palette, but sometimes you do need that a little bit, you know, especially for spring. Although it is not spring in Montreal, it is winter. It's definitely winter. It's going to be winter until April, sometimes May. Well, fingers crossed April, but it's definitely not spring. I'm just bringing all of this spring makeup content to lighten the load, to lighten the mood, to lighten the spirits, and just inject some color, whether it's a bold lip or a purple eye or pastel shades. It's really just to elevate the mood and get us out of winter drudgery. Now, I do think that this shadow is completely misplaced because it's a warm reddish brown, but my lip is a red, so I think I'm going to dip into it right now for this scenario here. But otherwise, I think that this should be a deeper purple because, I don't know, to me, this would just be a better match. But if Chanel wants to hire me as like a artist in residence for a collection, I would accept very, very quickly. This color here is darker. It is the darkest color in the palette, which is unfortunate because I rarely use it because I usually want something pink and purple or lighter than this like dark maroony reddish brown. But right now it's fine. It's just to add a bit of definition in the crease. And then we're going to move on to the highlight of the look, or the highlight of the eye look. I am going to go into this beautiful light color here, but before I do so, I'm going to take my brush. All the brushes are listed in the description box, and I'm taking a little bit of setting spray. This is the Charlotte Tilbury. Just going to wet the tip of my brush here, and I'm going to go into this color. It's going to intensify it to make it very pretty and sparkly. Ooh, see? Yes. So I see that there's like a green in here, but it's yellow. It's not like a forest green or a khaki green. It's just that this yellow has some shift and some dimension to it. It's very pretty. I quite like this color. I actually I'm liking the palette a whole lot more. The more I use it, the more I like it, but it isn't for everyone because it is very light and very sheer. And so for some people who are looking for better purples or pinks for spring, I did a whole video talking about better or other purple options from Chanel. So all of that is either linked up here or in the description box yet again. If you wet your brush and dip into any shadow, it's going to make the color and the finish, whatever finish it is, it's going to be more intense. It will also effectively destroy any sort of embossing on the shadow, but honestly, I'm okay with that because I buy my makeup to use it and to enjoy it, so I can live with that. I want to tone down a little bit of the redness. I feel like the maroon red color is just poking through too much. I'm going to use my face powder that I'm going to use in a minute, and this is basically like my skin tone, so I'm just taking some of this and I'm just going to go over, so it's sort of neutralizing it a bit. I'm going to go into a bit of liner. I'm just going to use my black waterproof liner number 88. It's just an intense black, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a tight line in the waterline, and then I'll be back because I want to add a little bit on top and maybe a little bit of a wing liner. I'm taking this very small brush here. This is the Refer 29. So the bristles are very, very short, dense, and stiff. So I'm going to load up my brush with the black liner. Use a brown or any color you want. I'm just loading it up on the brush like this. And then I'm going on the lash line and I'm drawing a thin line like this, and then just a little bit of a flick as well. Let's move on to the complexion. I'm going into my NARS Radiance Primer. I love this stuff. I really feel like it's underrated. So I use the Radiance Primer because I have more dry, dehydrated skin and I like the glow, but they have one for more oily skin that has a matte effect. So depending on your skin type, they have different ones. But I just love this one because it just evens out my complexion, adds a bit of glow, is luminous and beautiful, and it also has an SPF in it as well, so you know, may as well add more SPF along the way. My concealer, as always, is the Sublimage concealer in 32. This one here has like rosiness to it. They have different shades, but 32 is my perfect match. It's so expensive, but it's so worth it. It's one of those things where unfortunately the price tag is worth it, sort of. I mean, no, it should be less expensive, but at least it's great. You know, sometimes you buy something that's super expensive and it's not good and you're like, well, at least I'll never buy that again. But sometimes you buy something that's super expensive and you're like, shoot, now I have to commit to this for the rest of my life, basically. Although with Chanel, one day they will discontinue this because they always do. They discontinue everything and then they reformulate it. So, but in a very long time, I'm talking about like 5 or 7 years, this will be gone and then I'll have to fall in love with something else. Now I'm dipping back into my powder from before. Yes, a glowy primer with a powder over top. This is the Dior Backstage powder. No powder, it's like this gel. It's actually jelly. You can actually push your finger through, water-based, water-infused powder. So if you have oily skin, this is not for you. It's not mattifying. It's just this perfect blurring, unifying powder. And I mean, it's quite a testament that I'm wearing it because I have dry, dehydrated skin. I live in Montreal. It's quite cold, but it's really beautiful. And I love it for a day when I want my skin to look and feel like skin, nothing too heavy. It's quite nice. I mean, you can see some difference, but it's not like cakey or heavy. So I've really been dipping into this and I'm hoping one day soon, maybe I'll hit pan, which would be very satisfying. Let's go into the most gorgeous blush. This is the blush from the Le Blanc collection. This is Fantaisie de Chanel, the Chanel Fantasy. If you get one thing from the Le Blanc collection, it's this blush here. This is the best. The eyeshadow palette It's fine, it's nice, I'm making it work, but it's not like the best eyeshadow palette they've ever come out with. And their lilac highlighting stick I think is really, really nice. This I really enjoy and I use a lot. I'm not gonna wear it today just because I want to do something a little bit different, but the standout piece is the blush. It's so gorgeous. It's the blush and highlighter. It's like a fuchsia pink, not too pink, but it's just gorgeous. And as you can tell, I've been dipping into it quite consistently. It's just so gorgeous. And I love this because it reminds me of why I love Chanel makeup so much. The packaging is extra, but the quality is so nice. Like, look at that. It just blends and melts into the skin. It looks luminous without being too much of a highlighter. It's not a chunky glitter. There's no glitter particles. It doesn't pick up on texture or even like peach fuzz or any texture like that. It's just really beautiful. And I love when they come out with just this sort of like showstopper blush. That to me is very Chanel. I totally forgot to mention, I did apply mascara, as you can see. So I used the base. This is just a white lash primer. It looks like nothing. It really adds so much definition and volume. I really would recommending the lash base. And then I used the Benefit Bad Gal Bang because it's just a really great mascara. Now let's go into our lip from Violette FR. This is a matte liquid lip. You can make it really intense or you can sheer it out. I'm not sure exactly which way I want to go quite yet. I guess I did go pretty bold with the look here. It's just really lovely. I have this one here, and then I have the first one she came out with. This was her first liquid lipstick. This one is like a crushed dark red rose petal, and then the new one is a bit more berry. The first one was called, oh my goodness, I need glasses. First one was called Amour Fou, so crazy love. They're both really nice. It just depends on the mood, and I think a little bit more of a berry fits more with today's makeup. Now, last but not least, in order to complete a look, we have to go into a fragrance. And I have here the new Givenchy Irrésistible. This is a rose velvet, I think it's called. It's the eau de parfum, it's rose velvet. So it's a continuation of the Givenchy Interdit, and a perfume, a fragrance, whatever you want to call it, always just acts as the cherry on top. Before you head out, you're like, wait, let me just spritz myself. Even if you're staying at home, I'm just saying, spritzing yourself with some perfume. Again, it lifts the spirit, it lifts the mood, it makes you feel better about yourself. So it's all, you know, part of that. And this one here, it's really nice. It smells like a creamy, velvety rose petal. It has a little bit of fruitiness to it. It has some woody, spiced notes. Honestly, if you like this, or if you like the Chanel Paris Paris, you would like this. If you like the Armani, what's it called? My Way, I think you would like this. It's, yeah, it's nice, it's light. It is floral, it's very rosy, but it's not heavy. It's a modern take on a rose scent. So I think it's nice. It's pink, it's floral, it's rose, it's spring, and I'm bringing spring and injecting spring into your screen to just help you for the next few months before summer gets here. And then once summer does get here, we can all complain about how hot it is. Isn't humanity grand? Anyway, this is today's makeup look. I hope I gave you some thoughts, some inspiration on how to use up what you have at home. If you're not aware, I have an online beauty consulting service. It's a one-on-one Zoom chat with just me. You don't have to share me with 20,000 other people. It's great if you, let's say you have an existing makeup kit, but you just sort of need inspiration, some help, a little bit of guidance, or maybe you just need to buy new products and you don't know what to get and you don't want that sales pressure. The benefit of my service is you do it from home and you can buy or don't buy anything after the consultation. I really don't care. It's really up to you. So if you want to book an appointment for yourself, there's a link down below for that. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys for today. Let me know what other looks you want to see with the palette or with the spring release in general. If there is specific looks or if you just want to see more of these, let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you next time. Bye.